In today's video, we're going to play with two horses at Liberty. I've got Callie here. She's a 2-year-old Welsh pony, and I'm just going to turn her loose. And here I've got Spyderman, and he's a 3-year-old Irish Draught. And I'm just going to turn them loose and just kind of let them play and see what they're going to do on their own. So a lot of times when I'm working with the horses is I'll take a couple of them and just turn them loose and just kind of let them run around and play and get all the freshness off of them. But it's also a way to kind of see how the horses are going and responding and how they are with each other. Spyderman, he likes to kind of pick on the little one a bit, but she actually knows how to stick up for herself. And I don't recommend this, don't do this with horses that, don't really know each other yet, because they can get in a bit of a scrap with each other. But these two know each other. And I've had Callie here for a couple months now and just really getting her groundwork good, getting some manners with her. And when she first showed up, getting up here was not one of the things she really liked doing. But now, as you can see, she's kind of like, hey, how about me? I can almost get as big as the big guy here, getting up on here. So I'll just see if I can ask her to come all the way. So I'm just kind of inviting her, but if she doesn't, no worries. Thank you, Spyderman. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off just by focusing on one of them. So Spyderman's kind of like, well, pick me. So I'm going to just play with him. He doesn't want to let go of my stick, so I'm just going to go with it. Can I get him to follow me? And that's the fun thing with Liberty work, is take what the horses give you, play with what they're giving you, and yeah, you come out with an agenda, but you may have to adapt the agenda. You may have to say, no, I'm going to do, the horses are wanting to do this, so let's do this or that or the other. And so I'm going to focus on one and then just let the other one kind of play here. And the little one's saying she wants to chew on stuff, so I'm going to move that out of the way. And I like that because Spyderman's staying with me. So I'm going to throw a little energy at his hind end, saying, hey, I'm over here. He says, no, I'm going to go play with my buddy. And that's the thing when you have two of them out here, or even more, is they will get distracted by one another. So my focus is on Spyderman. Callie, I'm just going to let her kind of play and do whatever she wants. So I'm going to just say, can you come with me? So I throw a little energy at the hind end till he connects up with me, and then we go off together. And I'm throwing a little energy back at the hip to say, hey, come back up here. I'm inviting with this hand here, saying, come on over to me. Because the Liberty work is mostly about our energy, our presence. Where are we throwing our life? Who are we showing up as? So if we come out here with a lot of, push or really filling the space up the horses really don't want to be with you. But if you also come out here and you're just kind of within yourself and withdrawn, and there's really nothing about you that fills up the space, they may come in and kind of take over or push through you, that sort of thing. So it's a balancing act of going from being invisible to filling this whole space up. And doing that all the time. You're constantly playing with life up, life down. So they're both kind of connected in, but again, I'm just saying howdy to Callie. My focus isn't on her, and my focus is on Spyderman. And so I put an energy at the hind end, saying, can you disengage the hind end? Can you move that around? Because that's our go-to whenever the horses check out, is we're always going to go for the hind end, get them to disengage that hind end, and then we're going to get them focusing back onto us. And if you really want some preliminary work on that, go back to the gentling process. Some videos there of me working with some Nakota horses, and it'll really show you how the first initial of moving that hind end, inviting the front to come to you, and that sort of thing. But he's connected here with me, so now I'm gonna say, hey, would you like to trot off? So the more the horse connects with you, the more you can do with them. He saw the barrels there and says, nope, I don't think I want to jump those barrels yet. So I'm not going to take him over it. I'm just going to kind of take him around and through. And just play with what does he want to do. Till eventually he might take them on his own. Or if I get a little closer here, and that was good, because he went by him. And I'm just going with him here and there. Can you connect? Stay connected with me. Stay over here. So he leaves, so I go to the hind end, move that front end. So I'm still asking the front to kind of step around, and then I walk off. The more the horse checks out, the more you're going to ask that hind to move, moving the front end. So there he's kind of leaving. So I move the hind till the front comes through. I move the front end around, and he wanted to leave, so immediately I just go to the hind end again. And I want him to cross that front end over without leaving. There you go, buddy. And stop. You can get creative when you're out here playing with them. 7 different directions you can go. Standing still, right, left, forward, backwards, and up and down. So how can you get any one of the body parts to go in those 6 directions or stand still? So that's what I'm playing with, but you're starting off with moving that hind, moving the front, and getting him to walk off. And that was nice. Okay, so I'm gonna now just kind of be like, oh, thank you, buddy. My focus is coming off of him, and now it's gonna go over onto Callie. If he stays with me, that's fine, that's good. But I'm not expecting him to. So now I throw my energy out at Callie and and my energy's going towards the hind end, saying, hey, I'm over here. And she's like, hey, I'm leaving, but I'm just throwing my energy. That doesn't have to be big. Just enough so she feels it there. As soon as she checks in, I soften and I back away. I'm like, thank you very much. Have her find me. And then I'm making it a good thing. So she finds me and I'm like really rewarding her. I'm gonna ask the front to kind of cross over, because a lot of times if you can get the front to cross over, they will stick with you better when you leave. If I would have just walked off in the beginning, they don't really stay with you. But if you can get the front to step over, they tend to want to stick with you better. So I like this. If she gets too far behind, I'm like, come on up here with the hand closest to her. The stick hand is saying, come find me. But don't get too close. Her issue too is she likes to kind of get in and crowd. So she's staying with pretty well. So I get a picture of trotting. So I bring my life up and we go off together. And then I can come back down and she comes right with me. If she wouldn't, I can take my stick. So if I come down and she's not there, I can come tap on her front and I'll turn around so you can see it from the front. Going along, I can change by just inviting the front to come to me, change hands, and head off back this way. And I come down, there she kind of gets too far out in front of me, so I use my stick kind of on her chest to say, oh, you've passed me. And then I might ask her to back up, so I slowly back up, but I don't want to leave without her. So I get the picture of a backup, but I don't just back up. Now there she wants to just leave, push through it. So then I talk to the hind end, throwing my energy at her hind end, saying, the stick hand is throwing energy, my open hand is receiving, and as soon as she checks in, I receive her. My stick hand goes quiet. I'm not throwing any energy at her, and I invite. So there's this constant putting a little intent, a little pressure to inviting. Pressure, inviting. And when they're with you, that's a balance. Then it's like, oh, you're just going together. But if you need them to come back to you, you're like, oh, inviting them in. If you need something from them, you put a little pressure on them. So like here, I bring my intent up and just a little pressure with the stick behind. And she's coming along with me. And I want to keep her from crowding me because she wants to kind of get right on me. There she wants to leave. Check out the other horse. So I'm talking to the hind end saying, hey, here I am. Here I am. If you get distracted, I'm going to show up. I'm going to get present. I'm going to get bigger. And another way to think of it is, these two horses are my herd, and I want you to stay with me. As soon as another herd comes up, the lead horse is going to always step in to the other lead horse, and they're going to protect their herd and say, no, you have to stay in my herd. Or a stallion with his mares does the same thing. And so that's what I'm kind of doing, is stepping in and saying, hey, you got to connect back with me, not with with the other horses and pick up the trot. And she kind of wants to leave, but she's still with me even though she went off to the rail. And there I'm going to play with her. She got a little excited. And no worries. So I just play with it. I'm throwing a little energy at her hind end saying, hey, I'm over here. And they both might get in this together. And there I'm inviting her. I'm like, ah, thank you. And she leaves. So I talk to the hind end. But I'm not getting big. I'm not getting really firm. I'm just saying, hey, here I am. She's like, oh, I got to get dirty too. And that's all good. Because again, it's about, can you give your horse what they need? The more you can give them what they need and want, the more they're going to want to be with you. The better the leader you're going to be for them, so they'll want to follow you. Because if they know you're always taking care of them, they're going to want to stay with you. She's like, oh my gosh, this feels good. Yeah, now you feel a lot better. And then we can go off. And I invite her back to me, so I just kind of play with her, and then I'm going to ask her out the other direction. So she's kind of left, but she's still with me some, and so I just stay with her. Stay present. When the horse is trying, you're not going to get bigger, you're not going to get softer. You kind of just stay with the intensity. And then as soon as they make a change, whether they check out more, then you get bigger, or if they check in, then you get softer. I like it. We'll see if she... So I started thinking about the barrels, and she's like, no, I don't think so. We'll just try it again. And that's just something to be aware of when they're playing. Try not to get too far past their hip, like her going past the barrel. She could have kicked up and kicked at me, or kicked me, and so I just really try to be careful about that, of always staying, from the girth line up is your best. She's like, I got this trick down. Okay. So I'm going to let her just hang out there if she wants to. There you go.